What's up, guys? My name is TechnoTuner, and we're back again with another deck profile. Today we're taking a look at Predaplant. The Predaplant deck received some updates in Blazing Dominion, basically giving it the capability to utilize Synchro Summoning to go into a Clear Wing and then Crystal Wing, so you can further allow your deck to get more negation up, but also it takes into the aspect of when Yugo and Yuri fused during the Arc 5 anime. Spoilers, I know, for those that haven't seen it, but it's still one of the cooler decks aesthetically and actually based in the anime. This deck has a lot of good capabilities, from being able to set up a lot of good synchro and fusion plays while not specifically locking you out of either engine. It also makes very good use of the Miracle Synchro Fusion for Earthbound Immortals, to where you can utilize that to go into a Predaplant Batea, and another fusion such as Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. By utilizing this, we're able to further break it down and make it more unique. With this deck, I did base this off of Genesys. The point list for this current deck is about 64, 65 points. So please feel free to update this, modify it however you see fit. For the competitive version, I would just replace most of the hand traps with either 3 Ash, 3 Molcharmy, board breakers, whatever you see fit. This deck works very well for going second in OTKing, but it can also set up some really interesting negates as well through the Clear Wing and Crystal Wing lines to further help your setup. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead and hop right in and show you what we're working with. Alright, starting off, we're utilizing 3 Princess Drachnia, the Thirsting Tree. You can send 1 level 4 or lower plant monster from your deck to the graveyard except Princess Drachnia, the Thirsting Tree. Special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, it becomes that sent monster's level. You can banish 1 plant monster and this card from your graveyard. Special summon 1 dragon monster from your hand or graveyard. You can only use each effect of Princess Drachnia, the Thirsting Tree, once per turn. Also, you cannot special summon the turn you activate either of this card's effects except for dragons and or plants. So, basically giving you a very good tuner, being able to foolish monsters to your graveyard to do level modulation, and being able to get the actual monsters in the grave that you can utilize, but you can also utilize it for a tuner and be able to revive a dragon monster as well, which can further help your plays in trying to get the Clear Wing back onto the board, or Crystal Wing. Following that up, we're playing 3 Predaplant Longophilia. Plant Tuner Effect Monster. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 Predap card from your deck to your hand, except Predaplant Longophilia. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then activate one of these effects. Place 1 Predator counter on 1 face-up monster on the field, and if you do, any of those monsters that are level 2 or lower become level 1 as long as they have a Predator counter. Set 1 Polymerization from your graveyard or banishment. You can only use each effect of Predaplant Longophilia once per turn. So being able to search a Predap card, especially for an extender, can really help out. But it also allows you to place Predator counters to get your plays started, because in some of these deck builds, you can use the Predator counters to tribute off to summon a Predaplant monster, which can further help you out in the long run. Up next, I'm playing 3 Predaplant Lizard. If you control a Predaplant or Starving Venom monster, and this card is in your hand, you can special summon this card. Then you can add 1 Polymerization from your deck to your hand. You can target 1 face-up monster on the field. It becomes dark until the end of this turn. If this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can draw 1 card. You can only use each effect of Predaplant Lizard once per turn. So basically giving us a free extender, but also a draw. If you get both either of these tuners and Predaplant Lizard, and you have Miracle Synchro Fusion, or what is it? Harmonic Synchro Fusion. You can basically go into your level 4 Synchro and a Predaplant Fusion, which can function pretty well. Up next, of course, we're playing the 3 Predaplant Orphis Scorpio. If this card is normal special summon, you can send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon 1 Predaplant monster from your deck, except Predaplant Orphis Scorpio. You can only use this effect of Predaplant Orphis Scorpio once per turn. So basically being able to get us a free innate summon from the deck can help us with some combos as well. Up next, we have 2 Predaplant Bilisp. If this card is sent to the graveyard, add 1 Predaplant monster from your deck to your hand, except Predaplant Bilisp. If a monster with a Predator counter is on the field, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use each effect of Predaplant Bilisp once per turn. Following that up, I'm utilizing 2 Predaplant Glismandu. Monsters with a predator counter that you use as fusion materials are treated as dark. During your main phase, you can fusion summon 1 dark fusion monster from your extra deck using this card on the field and monsters from your hand, field, and or monsters with a predator counter your opponent controls as fusion materials. You can only use this effect of Predator Glismandu once per turn. So this is where the predator counters can come in handy, basically allowing you to fuse away with them, which can further break your opponent's board, but also gives you options to bigger and better monsters. Up next, I'm playing the 1 Predaplant Darlington Cobra. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Predaplant monster, you can add 1 polymerization spell or fusion spell from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Predaplant Darlington Cobra once per duel. And then following that up with 1 Predaplant Sacriant. When an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you can special summon this card from your hand after damage calculation. If this card bound an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card on the field is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add 1 Predap card from your deck to your hand, except Predaplant Sacriant. You can only use this effect of Predaplant Sacriant once per turn. So basically, being able to pop the monster, get a search, and get basically battle negation can really help, especially if you're trying to play into the longer game to survive a little bit more. So you can come back on the crackback to get another OTK if you can try and get there. Now, do note, these are all the Predaplant monsters that I'm currently playing. Since we are utilizing Genesys rules, there are no pendulums. Now, if you were to utilize the pendulums, this is where I would change a few things. Probably cut the Glismandu down by 1, the Lizard by 1, and add one of the pendulum monsters as options here. Now, for the rest of the monsters, we're just playing hand traps, of course, which are 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Ghost Mourner and Moonlight Chill, and 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. In all honesty, I would probably supplement a couple of these. I would probably cut the 3 Effect Veilers for 3 Molcharmy Follows, the Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill for 3 Infinite Impermanence or Dominus Impulse. So you have further plays if you're looking to play this more competitively. And then there's the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. You can supplement that for Ash or Imperm or whatever else you see fit. But basically, these are all the monsters that I'm playing. And since this is a Genesys point list, these hand traps make more sense as they give me more opportunity to negate my opponent's effects, but also have their other effects such as burn damage or being able to destroy the card. So that helps out a lot, especially when we're trying to go for more of a battle style to where we're trying to OTK our opponent on the crackback. That's all I have for the monsters currently. Let's go ahead and hop right into our spells and traps. Starting off our spells and traps, we're of course playing 3 Harmonic Synchro Fusion. Send 1 tuner, 1 non-tuner from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Special summon both the following monsters from your extra deck. 1 Synchro monster that could be Synchro summoned using just those 2 monsters in the graveyard as material. 1 Fusion monster that could be Fusion summoned using both those materials in the graveyard as material. You cannot special summon from the extra deck the turn you activate this card, except for Fusion or Synchro monsters. You only activate 1 Harmonic Synchro Fusion per turn. So basically giving you free reign capability to get 2 bodies instead of 1. It works very well with the deck. It's also able to be searched as it does have Fusion in the name. Next, of course, we're playing 3 Preda Primitive. Send 1 Predap card from your deck to the graveyard, except Preda Primitive. Add 1 Polymerization spell or Fusion spell from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon from the rest of this turn after this card resolves, except for plant or dragon monsters. If a monster or monsters is special summoned to your opponent's field, except during the damage step, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 fusion monster you control, destroy it. You can only activate 1 Preda Primitive per turn. So basically giving you the further capability to trigger off the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon effect to where if it's destroyed, you destroy all special summon monsters on your opponent's board, which can further help break boards, but also gives you more opportunity to search for other key cards while also filling your graveyard with necessary cards for summoning or for further effects. Up next, we're on to the list of one-ofs, starting off with 1 Preda Pruning. Activate this card by targeting 1 Predaplant monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and equip it with this card. When this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. So basically, it's a Call of the Haunted, but as a spell card that works very well for Predaplants. We're next going to follow that up with 1 Polymerization, 1 Super Poly, 1 Predaprime Fusion. If a Predaplant monster or monsters is on the field, fusion summon one dark fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from either field, including 2 or more dark monsters you control. You can only activate 1 Predaprime fusion per turn. 1 Ultra Polymerization. Pay 2,000 life points, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck, but using 2 monsters you control as fusion material. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 fusion monster that was fusion summoned with this card's effect. Special summon all fusion materials used for its fusion summon from your graveyard, but change their attack and defense to 0. Also, they have their effects negated. So, pairing Ultra Polymerization with Harmonic Synchrofusion can effectively get you 3 to 4 bodies, depending on how you utilize it. So it's very well and very fun to utilize nonetheless. And then, of course, one of the newer spell, 1 Super Duper Polymerization. Pay 2,000 life points, target 1 effect monster on the field, special summon 1 monster from your extra deck with the same type and attribute but a different level, but negates effects. Then apply 1 of these effects. Neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck. Using the special summon monster and the targeted monster, send the special summon monster to the graveyard. You can only activate 1 Super Duper Polymerization per turn. So, being able to utilize that, get a Predaplant monster or fusion monster from your extra deck to the board can further help your plays, especially when you're trying to fusion summon into another Predaplant monster or a bigger dark aesthetic monster that can fit well and work well with the deck. Can really help you break your boards, but also it's very helpful when you're trying to play around certain effects. And then, of course, for our 1 trap, we're playing 1 Predaplanting. Send 1 Predaplant monster from your deck to the graveyard, place 1 Predator counter on each face-up monster on the field, and if you do, any of those monsters that are level 2 or higher become level 1 as long as they have Predator counters. If you fusion summon a dark monster while this card is in your graveyard, except during damage step, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 card on the field, destroy it. You can only use each effect of Predaplanting once per turn. So, it's a great way to get Predator counters on your opponent's monsters, but also has the fun options as well as being able to banish it from the graveyard and then target a card on the field and destroy it, which can help with the further board breaking aesthetic of the deck, but offers up a lot more good capability to be sent off of Predator Primitive, giving you further opportunities to utilize that trap in more ways than one. That's all the spells and traps I really have for the deck. Let's hop right on into the extra deck. All right, hopping into the extra deck, let's see what we're working with. We're going to be starting with 2 Predaplant Baltea. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can special summon 1 Predaplant or Starving Venom monster from your face-up extra deck or graveyard. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field except during damage step, you can banish 1 Polymerization and this card from your graveyard, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. You can only use each effect of Predaplant Baltea once per turn. Giving you the opportunity to synchro summon into Clearwing and other monsters can really help you out, especially since it's a level 4, it makes a great tuner body. We're following that up, of course, with the 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Once per turn during either player's turn, when another level 5 or higher monster activates the effect on the field, you can negate the activation if you do destroy it. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a monster's effect is activated that targets exactly 1 level 5 or higher monster on the field, and no other cards, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. If this card's effect destroys a monster, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until the end of this turn. So some good effect negation and attack gain for enabling further attack boosts and OTK possibilities, but offering up some good protection as well. We're then following that up with 1 Black Rose Dragon. When this card is Synchro Summoned, you can destroy all cards on the field. Once per turn, you can banish 1 plant-type monster from your graveyard, then target 1 defense position monster your opponent controls, change that target to face-up attack position, and if you do, its attack becomes 0 until the end of this turn. Just a good board wipe and a good way to get more bodies on board to change them to attack. Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. If this card is special summon or a level 5 or higher monster special summon to your opponent's side of the field, target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls, return that target to the hand. You can only use this effect of Black Rose Moonlight Dragon once per turn. Now, the one card I would probably replace this with is Bramble Rose Dragon, as it offers up a more of a burn capability and a quick effect to go into your Black Rose Dragon to further nuke. So that's what I would recommend instead of the Moonlight Dragon, but I don't have an extra Bramble Rose at this point in time to show you how that would be better. But basically, it's just a better strategy if you're looking to interact with your opponent a bit more and put them more on a time clock to lower their attack, or well, their life points. Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon is our next and final synchro of the deck. 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner synchro monsters. Once per turn, when another monster's effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. And if you do that, this card gains attack equal to the destroyed monster's original attack until end this turn. If this card battles an opponent's level 5 or higher monster, during damage calculation, this card gains attack equal to the current attack of that opponent's monster during opponent's monster it is battling during damage calculation only. So, once again, the great monster negate and attack boost can further help with breaking boards. It's very beneficial all around. We're going to be following that up with 2 Predaplant Ambulomedes. If this card is fusion summoned, you can add 1 Predaplant monster or 1 Predap spell or trap from your deck, graveyard, or face-up extra deck to your hand. You can target 1 monster your opponent controls with a Predator counter, or 1 monster you control, tribute it, and if you do, special summon Predaplant monster from your deck. You can only use each effective Predaplant Ambulomedes once per turn. So once again, the Predator counters are coming in handy here, being able to be tributed off to further summon a Predaplant monster from your deck, giving you further extension and good capabilities. Next, of course, we're running the 1 Predaplant Chimera Rafflesia. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster on field with a level that is less than or equal to this card's. Banish it. When an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's face-up monster, you can activate this effect until the end of this turn. That opponent's monster loses 1,000 attack, and if it does, this card gains 1,000 attack. Once per turn during the next standby phase after this card was sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 polymerization spell or fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. So another great way to get back into the game, but it also offers up a deterrent for your opponent if they try to swing into this. We're going to be following that up, of course, with the 1 Albion the Branded Dragon. If this card is fusion summoned, you can fusion summon 1 level 8 or lower fusion monster from your extra deck, except Albion the Branded Dragon, by banishing fusion material mentioned on it from hand or hand field and or graveyard. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add to your hand or set 1 branded spell trap from your deck. You can only use this effect of Albion the Branded Dragon once per turn. Now, this is if you want to run the 1 Fallen of Albaz. I'm also running it as a super duper poly target, which can further help me break boards, but it also gives me the capability of searching stuff that I could use, but it's also another body I can utilize as well, since it is a Dark Dragon. We're next following this up with 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. 2 dark monsters on the field, except tokens. If this card is fusion summoned, you can make this card gain attack equal to 1 special summon monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. Once per turn, target 1 level 5 or higher monster your opponent controls. Until the end of this turn, this card's name becomes that monster's original name, and replace this effect with that monster's original effects. If this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So basically an effective board wipe that can hurt your opponent in the long run. We're next following that up with 2 Predaplant Dragostapelia. Once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, place 1 Predator counter on it, and if it's a level 2 or higher, it becomes level 1 as long as it has a Predator counter. Negate the activated effects of your opponent's monsters that have Predator counters. So further more setting up some negation, but also giving you the fun aspect of utilizing Predator counters as another opportunity to either negate, tribute, summon, whatever. Now, this is the part where it's going to be a bit of a... it's going to be a bit problematic for some people. Because this card, I like running personally. I do love this card's art design, which is Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon. Please feel free to replace it with the new fusion that they did have in the Megatins, and I think it was like one of the older sets. But Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon is 1 Predaplant monster plus 1 dark monster whose original level is 8 or higher. Must first be fusion summoned. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster on the field until the end of the turn, change its attack to 0. Also, that target has its effects negated. If this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, destroy as many monsters on the field as possible. Then you can banish 1 level 8 or higher dark monster from your graveyard and special summon this card from the graveyard. I like running it because it has a good recurability. It's a really good monster in general as it drops a monster's attack to 0 and gives it the capability of negating its effects. It is a 3300 body, works very well. But in all honesty, I would probably replace it with the new 3600 body that they did print a while back for the Predaplants, as it is more optimal and works a little bit easier. But that one is still up to debate. Here is the final card, which is Predaplant Trifiovertrum. God, I butchered that name. 3 dark monsters on the field. Gains attack equal to the total original attack of all other monsters on the field with a predator counter. You can only use each of the following effects of Predator, Triffy over Trum once per turn. When your opponent special summons a monster from their extra deck, while you control this fusion summon card, quick effect, you can negate the summon if you do destroy that monster or monsters. If your opponent controls a monster with a predator counter, you can special summon this card from your graveyard in defense position. So, once again, offering up really good capability here in 2 significantly good boss monsters that can further help break your opponent's board, but also sets up some good effect negation or board wipe and negate of summons. Alone, this deck is very fun, offers up a lot of good capabilities, but there are some ways you can further improve it nonetheless. If you're looking to basically utilize the new stuff, please be sure to include the new fusion monster, as it does take a Clearwing monster and a Predaplant monster, I believe. It may take a Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. I can't remember specifically off the top of my head, but it is still a very fun card if you're looking to play this in more of an advanced format instead of Genesys, because it is a pendulum monster. But that's all I have for the extra deck. Let's go ahead and hop right into the deck in review. All right, so before we hop into the deck in review, the one card I was talking about is Starving Venom Wing Dragon. 1 fusion monster plus 1 clear wing monster. Once per turn, if your opponent special summons a monster face up, except during damage step, you can target one of them. This card gains attack equal to that monster's attack, and if it does, that monster's effects are negated. These changes last until the end of this turn. Once per turn, when another card or effect is activated on the field, quick effect, you can destroy 1 card on the field. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed, you can place this card in your pendulum zone. Its pendulum effect is, each time a monster or monsters is special summoned to your opponent's field, place 1 predator counter on it, and if it has a level 2 or higher, it becomes level 1 as long as it has a predator counter. So this card functions very well in the Predaplant deck if you're looking to play in more of an advanced format or just more of a current format instead of just Genesys. Anyways, moving on from there, what is the good thing about this deck? Well, the good things about this deck are that it's basically changing the way predator counters work and how Predaplants work as a whole. Predaplants used to have no game plan of going second. If they didn't OTK, they were kind of out of luck. With this opportunity, they do have ways of setting up negation, further interaction, and basically breaking board a lot more effectively than they used to. I keep on calling them predator plants. Predaplants have the fun opportunity of turning an anime deck into a real rogue threat, in which it could work very well in either Genesys or Advanced, depending on how you build it. While this deck is very fun, it offers up a lot of good capabilities between Synchro and Fusion Summoning that works very well. It's very flush. It works basically innately, natively, to feel as a whole deck as itself. It doesn't feel like you're mixing 2 engines or mixing 2 different decks together. This deck just basically makes it feel like its own thing, and it feels really nice to play. What's the cons? The cons is, while it is an anime deck, it does lack a little bit more support to push it to that rogue / meta tier status, and I would say it takes a very good pilot to get it there. This deck is still one of the fun Arc 5 archetypes that I would recommend newer players to try out, because it is one of those decks that is really unique unto its own. Predator counters are really fun to utilize, especially when you can use them to tribute off, fusion, fusion or negate skill effects or negate monster effects. It does offer up a lot of good capability as well to really mess with Xyz summon decks. This deck works very well with just modifying it to where your opponent can't utilize Xyz monsters as a whole or messes with synchro plays, because it changes your opponent's monsters to level 1 instead of letting them be their normal level. Now, on top of that, it does not have a really good survivability playback as you would think. Basically, you have to go for the OTK. If you are unable to OTK, you're basically going to be picked apart if your opponent has any kind of board removal or anything else on the crackback. So, with this deck, it does offer a lot of good recovery, has very good consistency, but you are still sitting there trying to OTK as fast as possible, and it's more of an aggro deck than how most of the plant decks work, where they're basically a combo and negate board. Now, what are some suggestions I would recommend for newer players when they are playing this? 1. Pay attention to your effects. Predator counters are more helpful than you would think, allowing you to basically get skill negation, or not skill negation, basically effect negation on board, or being able to fuse away with the problematic cards, or utilize your opponent's monsters in other ways that you wouldn't see fit. This deck offers up a lot of good capability and learning capability for people who are looking to learn how pendulum, or not, well, if you're playing the advanced stuff, pendulum monsters can be utilized for other things, but it offers up a lot of good capabilities for synchro and fusion for newer players to learn. Like, what can I do with the synchro monster if it just leaves board? Well, Baltea offers up a good way to fusion summon into a boss monster if you need to. You have the capability of just nuking your opponent's special summon monsters with the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, or nuking your opponent's board in general with Greedy Venom Fusion. These decks offer up a lot of good playability and do give you those next steps into where you can improve your playstyle and improve your deck. But as a whole, I would recommend this as more of a fun rogue Genesys deck. And even if you were playing this in advanced, it's still more of a rogue deck, and it is still fun and takes a very good pilot nonetheless. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's deck profile. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.